have a hair. Every single time. They are fine all day long until I want to get on a live. And then I can't see out of them. Dang it. Every time. Sorry guys, I gotta check. All right. Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Anybody there? Yeah, I have to go with it. I think I have just scratched them one too many times. And that's right in the view. Hello, hello. Anybody gonna get on and talk to me tonight? Hello, hello. Anybody? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Anybody? Hey, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Nope, not happening. John, I am not getting kicked off. Thank you for the likes, Demolition Man 1400. Did you have a name? I know you've been here before. I apologize. I don't remember. Tell me where you're from and your name. You're from Louisiana. Welcome. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Anybody gonna talk to me tonight? Anyone? See who's gonna hop on. If you're new here and you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. I'm running just a few minutes behind tonight. I apologize. I had to take my dog outside. See if anybody else is gonna hop on. Anybody? Nope, dropping off. Hopping on, dropping off, hopping on. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Nobody wanted to stay on. All right, well, we'll see how this goes. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Anybody? Nobody wants to talk to me tonight? Nobody? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello. Coffee Girl 7, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. If you're new here, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Welcome. ETB, thank you for the badge and the likes. I appreciate that. Guys, just keep tapping that screen if you would, please. If you're here, I appreciate it. I didn't realize how much those hearts really help. Scott from, is it Oklahoma City? Is that right? Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you for the hearts. 707, angel number. I'm huge into angel numbers. Yes, awesome. Good. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. So if you're new here, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm just going to wait about another minute to get started. I was running a little bit late. Hello, hello. Wild Child, Las Vegas. Do you have a name, Wild Child, or just Wild Child? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello. Hello, hello. Anybody? All right, well, it looks like we're just going to plateau out. So I was already running a few minutes late, so I'm just going to get started. Do I like cows? I guess so. I have no reason not to like cows. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're new here, I like dogs too. I like animals, so if you're new here, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background of why I'm here. And so my name is Renee. If you're new, I'm basically from South Dakota, but living in Iowa at the moment, briefly. I started my TikTok in March of 2024. The reason I started my TikTok is because in September of 2023, my husband unalived himself for TikTok purposes. And that's when I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my spirit guides. And then they slowly led me to my purpose, which is to help other people through loss and trauma. Living on a farm. You're living on a farm, or am I? I'm not living on a farm, no. But I did grow up on the outskirts of a little town, so we had pigs and we had cows and we had chickens and all of that. So yes, I have had all of that at one time or another in my life. And so if you're not familiar with my story, my husband and I were together for 32 years, never apart more than 2 weeks in those 32 years. And so when he passed, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. I'm not even going to try to say your name. Wild Child, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And so since we were together for 32 years, I never knew an adult life without my husband. We were together for... we were together when I was 16 is what I meant to say. Well, it's kind of a long story, Richard. That is your name, I'm assuming. And where are you from? My husband had some health issues prior, had some strokes. And so life kind of happened before that, about 2 years leading up to that. So it's kind of a long story. But the gist of it is that, he did leave. And so I never knew an adult life without him. And so when people kept telling me, Renee, just put one foot in front of the other, I literally did not know how to do that. I could barely breathe. And so I wasn't sure that I was going to, I have to be careful what I say, that I was going to stay on this planet. And oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And so when I decided, okay, I'm going to stay on this planet, I have to figure out a way to heal myself because my husband did not leave me in a great spot financially. So therapy was out and group therapy wasn't my thing because I'm the circle that don't fit in the square. I'm the unique girl. So I knew group therapy probably wasn't going to work for me either. No, he did not. If you just missed that, he did not leave me in a great spot financially. And so anyway, and so I had decided, okay, so I've got to find a way to heal myself. If you guys could just keep tapping that screen, that would really be helpful. Those hearts actually do really help. I would appreciate that. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. And so basically I deep dived into meditation and journaling, and that's when I discovered that I had abilities. And then my guides, basically, I'm not going to answer your question, so please stop asking me. Rodney, that is. And so, like I said, he did not leave me in a great spot financially. So I deep dived into meditation and journaling. And that's when I discovered, sorry, that's my dog, that I had abilities to talk to my spirit guides. Thank you, Rodney. I do appreciate that. I'm not quite sure. And so the first message I ever got in meditation from my guides is what heals you will heal others. And so my guides progressively led me to, okay, now you're going to get online and you're going to help people with their loss and their trauma, and you're going to talk about your story. So that's kind of why I'm here. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And all the likes, guys. I really, really do appreciate that. I'm also shooting, it's not something I normally push. I'm shooting for 20 ice cream cones. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. Usually just the hearts. I have taken plenty of punches. I had older brothers. So let's just answer your question with that. I have taken plenty of gut punches over the years when I was a child. So yes. Okay. Are we happy? All right. So I only have 2 rules here. The first one is I ask that you just be kind. And if you can't do that, please just hop off and keep scrolling. The other one is we talk absolutely no politics here. It's just not at all what my page is about. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like to think so. Tough, that is. And so we just don't talk any politics here. It's just not at all about what my page is about. There's a million other pages out there for that. It's not about one side or the other. It's just not at all what my page is about. Me, Carol Maines, did I say that right? Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Where are you from? And thank you for the likes. Yeah, guys, if you can keep tapping that screen, that really does help me. Go to WW. What's WW? Enlighten me. From Portsmouth, Ohio. Well, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. I don't know what WW means. Bentley, you need to lay down. My dog's being antsy tonight. Wonder Woman? Okay, well, I don't know about that, but thank you. I appreciate that. So anyway, so I always like to say I'm on my journey of life where I am, and you're on your journey of life where you are, and none of us are going to agree on everything. And so on my page, we agree to disagree. So you might hear something on my page that, you know, maybe you don't agree because I am a psychic medium. Maybe you don't agree with that. I'm not here to push my belief on you. I'm here to just stay in my lane and do what I'm here to do. So we agree to disagree. So yeah. From Arkansas, welcome. Okay. Is it Steven from Arizona? Did I get that right? Welcome. Glad to have you here. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Thank you for all the likes. They really do help, guys. So normally when I go live, I have a topic. So tonight we're talking about shifting your perspective. This was actually turned out to be a huge topic in my healing journey. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I forgot to mention we are not shy here, so pipe in anytime. My page is about dialogue between us back and forth. If I do not read your comment, unless it's something that is totally irrelevant, if I don't read your comment, I might not have gotten it. TikTok likes to censor my comments, and I don't know why. I have all of my stuff off, so I should receive every comment. Sometimes I get no comments. Sometimes I get every 3rd comment. I just never know what TikTok's going to do. So if you do have a comment or you've had a loss and you need to talk about it, please DM me after and I will get back with you. But so I'm just going to hop into it. Like I said, we're not shy here. Pipe in anytime if you got something you would like to add. So we're going to talk about shifting your perspective. Changing your perspective can lead to a ripple effect, impacting not just how you view a specific situation, but potentially transforming your entire approach to life. And that right there in a nutshell sums up basically my life, right? So after my husband unalived himself a little over 2 years ago, you know, you kind of start out with the perspective of why is this happening to me, right? He didn't leave me in a great spot financially. If you guys can just tap that screen, that really does help. If you're just hopping on and you're new here, tell me who you are, where you're from. My name is Renee. Welcome. And so, like I said, that pretty much described my life in a nutshell. My husband didn't leave me in a great spot financially. Daniel Rogers, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. And all the likes. And so, you know, like I said, when my husband unalived himself, you know, you start out with the perspective of Why is this happening to me? And then eventually when my guides were like, Renee, you need to shift your perspective. And I was like, I do. And they're like, yes, you need to shift your perspective. These things are not happening to you. They're happening for you, right? And so when you can tweak that perspective just a little bit too, things are happening for you, right? Everything in life, and I truly believe this now, everything in life happens for us. We're learning something to gain some kind of knowledge, something. So like I said, if you're just hopping on and you're new here, tell me who you are, where you're from. We're not shy here, so pipe in anytime. My page depends on dialogue, so hopefully they're not hiding comments tonight. Daniel, thank you for the likes. I really do appreciate that. So what are some ways that we can change our perspective? Changing our inner dialogue, maybe, right? Having that inner dialogue of stop telling yourself bad things. Oh, did you guys see the orb? I get them all the time. You're so glad I found that perspective. So am I. Thank you. And I appreciate that badge very much. So yeah, stop telling yourself, right? That inner dialogue. Stop having that inner dialogue of bad things are always happening to me. Stop saying that. Stop putting that out into the universe. What people don't realize is sometimes we're kidding, right? And we'll say something about ourselves or our life, and we put that out into the universe. And what we don't realize is that the universe doesn't understand that we're joking, right? So stop having that inner dialogue of everything bad is always happening to me, right? Change that to, and that dialogue of why is this happening to me? Flip that perspective and change it to good things happen for me, right? Basically, when you put out bad things are happening to me, cancel, cancel, cancel. That's what I was taught years ago when I used to do Mary Kay for 12 years. And that's what our director taught us, is to say cancel, cancel when you say something. So you're canceling that to the universe. Because if you're saying only those kind of things are happening to you, the universe is like, oh, bad things are happening to you, so I'm going to send you more bad things, right? It's kind of like the law of attraction. So change it to good things are happening for me, right? This isn't happening to me, but for me. And why is it happening for me? You're still working on that. I'm doing cognitive behavior therapy and it's helping. Well, that's great, Daniel. I'm glad that it's helping. I hope you'll hop on more. We talk about a lot of things like this on here. So maybe there's something that we can help with too. That's why I'm here. I'm just here to try to help people. If one person doesn't have to go through what I went through, then it's all worthwhile. So like I said, this isn't happening to me, but for me. Changing that, just twerking that perspective just a little bit. You need nicer self-talk. Well, and it's really hard because we're programmed as people, right, to just always think towards the negative. And so it's hard for everybody. And we're going to talk a little bit. I hope you stick around because we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit more and how to change that. So hopefully you'll stick with me, Daniel. So reflect, right? Take a step back, breathe. When something happens to us, we need to learn how to take a step back and breathe, reset our mindset, right? When that bad self-talk comes to us, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Is it Alice? Thank you very much. And where are you from? But being able to take a step back and go, wait a minute, and wrangle in those thoughts. And being able to practice mindfulness, right? Thank you for the repost. I appreciate that, Nature. Being mindful of our thoughts, that is huge, right? It's so easy to have these thoughts going through our head and not being mindful. I think it's instinctive to expect the worst. Yes, yes, especially if you live in survival mode. I know I lived in survival mode my whole life. And even now, I still struggle with, after the loss of my husband, I still struggle with, okay, I'm waiting, when good things do happen, I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop, right? But I'm trying to not live like that, right? I'm trying to be present, be grateful, and appreciate what I have. And there again, like I said, being mindful of those thoughts, which is really hard to do. But you are able to do it. You can do it. But it's hard. It's changing everything about how you think of life and being able to do that. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that too. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. So there again, practicing mindful. If you find yourself slipping, maybe go into meditation or just go, do some deep breathing and go, okay, no. For me, it's that old story, right? Waiting for that other shoe to drop. The old self-talk, the old self-beliefs of, I can't do something, I'm not worthy, right? All of those things. And being mindful when those thoughts come and being able to take a step back and go, okay, wait, that's the old story. I no longer live there. And then replace those thoughts with new thoughts, right? I am worthy. I am capable. Whatever that old story is telling you, or those bad thoughts that are coming into your head, replace them with new ones. But it's really about learning how to be mindful of your thoughts. And trust me, it's taken me a little over 2 years to get to there, right? To be able to be mindful and go, where the old me would have stewed on my old story, for days at a time. Now I can usually catch myself within about 20 minutes, sometimes sooner, depending on what it is. Like this morning, for instance, I had a Zoom call with somebody that was important to me. It was to learn some information of where I want to go with my life, right? And I was tempted when I got the text message reminding me about the Zoom this morning. I was tempted to listen to that old story and go, well, you're not capable. Whatever it was that old story would tell me, right? You're not worthy. You're not capable. You'll never do this. You're not good enough, whatever that old story was. And I almost canceled that Zoom, and I'm glad that I didn't. And I was mindful of those thoughts, and I pushed forward anyway. And that's what it's about, is being mindful, switching those thoughts to good thoughts, pushing out that old story and stepping forward in the good, in the new, right? One of the big ways is to change your perspective is stop comparing yourself. I know with social media, it is so very hard. If you're just hopping on, by the way, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. And tonight we're talking about shifting your perspective. And one of those ways is stop comparing yourself to others. And sometimes that's really hard to do in the age of social media, right? We see everybody's life on social media and we think, oh, their life is perfect and I should be there and blah, blah, blah. First of all, remember that people put on social media what they want you to know, right? They're not going to put out all their dirty laundry. So if their life isn't perfect, 9 times out of 10, I'm the only one that gets online and talks about how my life isn't perfect. And I share my life in order to help people. But 9 times out of 10, most people don't do that, right? They are sharing only the best of what is happening, not the bad things or the things that are going on behind the scenes, right? So stop comparing your life to somebody else's. That is pivotal. Sanford Fuss, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Hi, Renee. Sandy, you're back from Phoenix. I remember you. Nice to see you. I'm so glad that you came back. So tonight we're talking about shifting our perspective. So learning to stay in your lane. You're on your journey of where you are and others are on their journey of where they are, right? And now for me, right? A little over 2 years ago when my husband unalived himself, it was easy for me because I still wasn't in a good headspace and I wasn't good at wrangling and being mindful of my thoughts. It was easy for me to go, wow, I'm 48 years old and I'm literally starting over, and everything was taken from me. My entire world crumbled. There was nothing left of where I was at. And I'm going to admit, it was easy for me to go, well, wow, all of these other people have houses and they're established and they have cars and, you know, they have built their life and they're, you know, in a good place, right? And versus where I was at. I'm 48 and I'm starting over, and I you know, I was lucky to have a roof over my head, which I was barely keeping over my head, by the way. I was struggling a lot. So I'm barely keeping a roof over my head. I lost my car. I lost my camper. Everything that was material, I pretty much lost. If you guys can keep tapping that screen, I really appreciate it. Those hearts really do help me, and I'm shooting for 5,000 tonight. So keep tapping, guys, if you can. But it would have really been easy for me, like I said, to sit back and go, wow, and to just give up, and because I'm comparing myself to other people my age that are well established and you know, have things and all the life that they built. But here's the thing, is that their life could crumble just as quickly as mine did, right? A lot of that stuff, houses and cars and boats and campers and all that stuff is on paper, right? And so one little loss for them, you know, their life could crumble just as fast as mine. So never, ever compare yourself to others. Never. You are, like I said, you are on your journey of life where you're meant to be, and they're on their journey of life where they're meant to be, right? And just because looking in at their life, like I said, you know, the day and age of social media, you may be looking at their life and going, wow, that's great. They just took a trip to Cabo, right? And everything is peachy keen. And we don't know that, right? So just stay in your lane, worry about you, right? That's what I do. I just stay in my lane. I worry about, where is Renee? You put your blinders on and you do what you have to do. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. And all the likes, guys. If you guys can keep tapping, I'm shooting for 5,000 hearts tonight. And I'm also shooting for 20 ice cream cones. That's just something, I don't know. I don't pay much attention to all that. But yes, like I said, it's easy to compare ourselves with the age of social media, but don't do it. Put your blinders on and focus on you and your life. And I guarantee, you know, it helps with the self-esteem. It helps with being able to shift your perspective and being mindful of your own stuff. Evaluate toxic relationships, right? So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. My name is Renee. Welcome. So tonight we're talking about shifting that perspective. I lost my husband, and my entire world of 32 years crumbled after my husband unalived himself in September 2023. And it was easy for me at first to sit back and go, wow, you know what? Why is this happening to me? And I had to, until one day my guides are like, Renee, you have to shift your perspective. This isn't happening to you. This is happening for you. And they were so correct. It was happening so I could be here with all of you guys, so I could go out and tell my story and help somebody else, right? It was something that I needed to learn. It's a lesson for me. I just believe life is just one big school, and we're here to learn. So yeah. So evaluate toxic relationships. That's a hard one for some people, right? And I'm not saying you have to cut those people off, but maybe, you know, if you know that those people are a bad influence on your life. In other words, if they're negative people, right? And you're constantly hearing negative all the time. Jen, could you block that one? We don't talk like that on here, please. Okay, Reese, well, this isn't a dating site, so if you could just kindly hop off and keep scrolling, I would appreciate that. Rosemary, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. So there again, and that kind of has to do with people pleasing, right? Sometimes we stay in toxic relationships with people because we want to make everybody else happy. And so learning how to change your perspective, take a step back and go, you know what? I don't have to make everybody else happy. And if you're struggling with that, I'm just going to throw in there, because like I said, this applies to every topic I talk about, is the people pleasing falls into, do I love myself, right? If you don't love yourself, then you need that outside validation. So then you seek other people's validation, right? So evaluate the toxic relationships. Sometimes, you know, maybe it's a mother-in-law that has to be in your life, but maybe you can limit your contact with her, right? So limit contact with people. When I say toxic, I mean people who, you know, if you're trying to better yourself and they're constantly putting you down, then maybe you need to evaluate how much they should be in your life, right? If they're not positive and you're trying to be a positive person, then evaluate how much contact you should have with that person, okay? Not saying you have to cut anybody off. Sometimes we do, but that is your choice and your choice alone. Being grateful for where we are, that comes into changing your perspective because, you know, being able to take a step back and go, okay, I am very grateful. Like at the time, right? It was really hard for me after I lost my husband, you know, because I was struggling. So it was hard for me to be able to take that step back and go, I have so many things to be grateful for. I had an amazing best friend who helped me through. I had my children. I still had a roof over my head, right? I had my grandchildren. I had my fur babies. So you wouldn't think that being grateful is part of your perspective, but it really is. Being able to go, okay, yeah, sometimes bad things are happening for me, not to me. Bad things are happening for me, but I also have all of these great things going on in my life, right? I have a roof over my head. Right now it's been like single digits. I'm in Iowa, you know. Technically, I am, you could say, homeless. I hate putting that out in the atmosphere for the moment. So cancel, cancel, cancel. I believe in the law of attraction. So, but I'm staying in my brother's basement. So I am thankful that my brother gave me a roof over my head when it's single digits outside. I'm very thankful. I have food to put in my belly and a warm place to put my head at night. So showing gratitude, right? If you're struggling with your perspective, go help other people who are less fortunate than you. And that will change your perspective very quickly, right? One night I was having a pity party for myself and somebody that I had met said, hey, do you mind if we talk on the phone? And I was talking to this person and I did not realize this person was actually homeless, like living in a tent, homeless, right? And so that changes your perspective pretty darn quickly, and it teaches you to be grateful, because at the time, like I said, I had a roof over my head, I had food in my belly, I had a job. I might have had several jobs at that point, I don't remember exactly. You're homeless? Is this Sandy? Are you serious, Sandy? Do you want to share? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Do you want to share and we can talk about it? Or you're welcome to message me afterwards. Okay, that's just fine. You're welcome to message me afterwards and maybe, you know, we can talk about, you know, some ways of, it's fine. Okay. Well, just know that I'm always here for you because I'm pretty much in the same boat if it wasn't for my family. And I'm not laughing at you, I promise. So yeah, I get it. I understand. Okay, so, and my guide said, lastly, embrace change. And she had me write change in capital letters, underline it, and put exclamation mark. So embrace change. Life is always changing, right? And we never know where we're going to be tomorrow. So embrace change. Changes, I always look at change as good. You know, some people grumble, oh, life's changing again. You know what? It's just part of evolving as a human and being on this planet. So embrace change. Does anybody else have anything they want to add to the conversation? Want to talk about? Maybe, I know sometimes I run through them very fast if I don't have a lot of comments. Anybody? Well, I'm waiting to see if there's any other comments. Has anybody had a loss or anything that they're dealing with that they want to talk about that maybe you're dealing with, not dealing with? You can throw those out there too. While I'm waiting, if you're not familiar, I also have a YouTube channel. It's under Scorpio Medium. Lay down, boo. Mom's on live. Does this every time I get on live. So it's called Scorpio Medium. And so all the reels and videos that you see here are uploaded over there. The only difference is that, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Come on, get up there. I'm busy. You cannot go out right now, and you were out like 45 minutes ago. You're fine. And so where was I at? Sorry. So all my reels that I upload here are uploaded over there. The only difference is if you enjoy my lives and you missed some and you'd like to check those out, I upload all of my lives over on Scorpio Medium, usually within 24 hours. Oh no, he's a full-grown 11-year-old dog who is just, it's one of those days where he's just antsy today. He didn't get enough fresh air and run a stink off, apparently. Thinks he's got to go out every 2 hours. So anyway, I'm not sure what's wrong with him tonight. He's just, I don't know. He's had a lot of change. He's a big puppy. Yeah, he's had a lot of change in the last 4 months. We moved to California and we were there 3.5 months. And then he spent, almost 3 days in a car to come back to Iowa. And so, he's coping the best he can, right? Sometimes mom needs to give him more grace. But okay, so if you're not familiar, I am here Sunday through Wednesday. I did change the time. It's back to 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I am here Sunday through Wednesday. Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do have a Zoom grief meeting set up. So if you would like info to sign into that, I set that up so people know that if they're grieving or they have a loss, that they are not alone, because I very much felt alone at certain times when I lost my husband. So Thursday night's Zoom meeting. So if you have any questions of any of these, you can email me or send me a DM. My email is down below. Speaking of my email, if you would like a reading, I am able to communicate with those who have crossed over, hence Scorpio Medium. I am a psychic medium. So if you are interested in a reading with somebody who's crossed over, that's how you would set that up, is through my email. I do offer half-an-hour sessions and hour sessions. I try to keep those low as possible. My guides tell me I offer a service, so I still have to charge, but I keep it low so I can help people. That's my goal. So also down below, you'll find in my bio that I have a Venmo. If you enjoy my content and you would like to leave me a tip, that's where you can do that there. Sandy, I appreciate all the hearts. I really do appreciate you tonight so very much. And like I said, anytime you want to talk or anything, you're sure welcome to email me or send me a DM, whatever. Starting in March, I'm hoping to start putting out an email newsletter. So if you would like your monthly dose of inspiration, thank you. If you would like your monthly dose of inspiration and some knowledge of how to evolve and maybe move through grief or whatever the topic is that month, you can send me an email or a DM with your email address, and I can put you on that list. I'm hoping to have those out around the 5th of every month. So that's pretty much all I have for tonight. Does anybody else have anything they want to add? Nobody's had a loss tonight. Looks like everybody's pretty much hopped off. Anybody? Let's see. So tonight is Monday. So I'll be back here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with a new topic. I'm not sure what that'll be yet. Anybody else has anything else they want to add to anything? Going once? Okay. That sounds great. Okay, well, since nobody else seems to have any questions or anything, I hope y'all have a great night. Remember to make tomorrow great, because it is a choice. And on that note, until we meet again.